Every single person in this world has a story to share. Your story is your superpower, and it's unique to you. In sharing it with the world, you can impact millions of people. If you keep it to yourself, you are doing the world a disservice. This is Dela. I'm the host of Dela's Voice, and I help you share your superpower with the world.
Hello and welcome to, excuse me, another episode of Dela's Voice Sunday Live Talk Show. Once again, I have the opportunity to be here to bring you fantastic stories of real people who have lived through their own struggles in life, their own adversities, their own experiences, and they're willing to share their story with you to bring some hope, to bring some light at the end of the tunnel, to bring some inspiration, to bring some motivation for change. I am absolutely blessed to be able to do this every week. It is my passion, it is my purpose to be the beacon of hope, because for a long time in my own life, I didn't have hope. So this is very, very special to me. My guest today, excuse me, little frog in my throat. My guest today is going to be talking all about balance. Balance is everything. And we're not talking about balancing your checkbook. It's not that kind of balancing. We're going to be talking about balancing and being able to function with day-to-day emotions. If there is a time to talk about this, there's no better time than right now. Because as every single one of you are experiencing these ups and downs, these different emotions that we may have never had to deal with them before, but right now we're facing them. It's really imperative that we learn how to deal with these emotions, how to function through them, and how to find the right balance. So stay with us. Share this talk with other people, as it's going to help a lot of other people. A little bit about my guest today. This fantastic gentleman, Tristan Helm. He was born in Colorado and raised in Oklahoma, and now lives in Texas and with his family. Tristan has worked in the mental health field for almost 20 years, specializing in distinct skills, training with those who are mentally handicapped, incarcerated, emotionally ill, and children under custody of the state. He is passionate about helping people see their true worth and overcome obstacles. He has 5 children and lives in Texas with his wife. Tristan works as a mental health professional and helps others to focus on understanding their inner struggle. He's been training under the guiding eye of some of the most prominent speakers in the world. He is a published author and has appeared on various speaking platforms within his first year of starting. He also works as a consultant for numerous networking groups and mentors small business owners. He's the CEO of Helm Mastery and works to help people take the lead in their life. His ultimate goal in life is to see his life's work and passion help as many people as possible. So you can say that my guest, Tristan Helm, has a little bit of experience in teaching people how to find the balance and how to function with their day-to-day emotions. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome on Dela's voice, my guest, Tristan Helm. Hello,
Hello,
welcome.
hello. Thank
Welcome,
you. Thank
welcome.
you so much. Hello.
Tristan,
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Right? I like that too.
Thank you for having
So,
me.
so wow, that's a quite impressive bio, Tristan. You've done a lot, and you have helped a lot of people through your career of 20 years of doing this work. And so I want to ask you, how does it feel when you hear me say those words? I mean, that's your bio.
Yeah.
I read it in like 1 minute, but it's taken you years to get to this point, right? So what goes through your mind? Please share.
I'm glad you asked that actually, because that's probably one of the first times I've ever heard it read like that. And I was like, man, that's a pretty impressive resume. Oh,
That was
she's talking about me. I have all that.
yes.
I didn't realize
Yes.
that. I'm like, man, I'm impressed with myself.
Well,
Like
that's
that was
good.
cool.
That is
So,
cool. That is cool. So what's going through your head when you hear that bio?
honestly, like I think of it's like an allegorical thing for life. Like we spend years just to get something, just in like tons of experience, just to be able to say a few words that can impact everything and change everything. But all those years to build up to that point is what was strengthening that moment. You know what I mean? Like 20 years working with people, like that's a long time. That's actually over half of my life. And I've never really thought about it like, man, I really have been doing this for a long time. I didn't realize it. I just was taking everything day by day, month by month, going from this job to this job, not even thinking about what I was doing. And then I think about the experiences I've had, and if I can be humble and say this, the knowledge that I have. And I think about, because of the experience and the, I want to say the pride, but like man, that feels good, to hear that, and I had to go through 20 years of doing it to get to that point where somebody can say he has 20 years of working with people. And so it's just like, wow, man, maybe I've done a lot more than I thought I have. Maybe I'm doing better than I think I am.
It's so right there. There's so much right there, Tristan, because how many people do you know that underestimate their accomplishments, and they look at their lives and they don't think they've
Yeah.
done much?
Yeah. And so there's this documentary on Amazon, and I wish I could remember the name, but it's this guy. He climbed one of the highest mountains without any rope. And he said he got to the top and he just wanted to sit and just take it in. And he said, people are asking him, okay, what are you going to do now? What's the next step? And because this is the way I think, I like to really look at everything in a, philosophical way. Like, ooh, that has a deep meaning to it. You really got to put ketchup with your fries, just, I try to look at everything in some type of life learning experience. And whenever he said that, I thought, man, that's the way a lot of people think. They accomplish something that at one time that was their dream. But as soon as they get to that, their eyes are focused on the next thing, which is okay whenever it comes to personal growth. But if we don't stop and like celebrate and just take it in and really just enjoy, man, it took me a long time just to get to this. And I remember one time when I wanted to be able to do this, and now I'm getting to do it. I want to celebrate that.
Yes.
And if we don't, it affects our mental health, which I'll go into later. But that's what I'm sitting there thinking about. I'm like, man, I really need to celebrate what I've done. Not because I'm anything big, but this is stuff that I've wanted to accomplish for a long time and never really gave it a lot of thought that I've already been doing it. You know what I mean?
And it's so important for mental health. You said that, and that's it. That's it. Like, to taking that moment and say, that was me. Like, I've done all these things, and just giving yourself that pat on the back, like you would to a good friend.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's so important. So that's a great place to start. So thank you for that, Tristan. Let's get to know you a little bit. How did you grow up? What kind of a family did you grow up in? And tell us a little bit about that.
So the best way to put it is I have been raised under a lot of different cultures and background, if I can say that properly. Like, I've been in single home with just me and my dad. I've been in a single home with just me and my mom. I've been in a with my mom and my dad and me in the house. I've lived with other people while my mother was taking care of herself because she wasn't healthy at the moment. So I've lived with other people. I've been homeless. I have had to, scrounge up enough money just to get a hotel for the night, so I can go to work the next day. All that to say is not because there's anything big on me. It's just like I can relate to a lot of different people. And so growing up, I went through, being homeless, being a single parent, being around domestic violence, being around drugs, being around all kinds of disorder and chaos and instability. My entire school year life, there was only 2 times where I went to the same grade, or went to 2 grades full term. I went second and third in one place, and then 11th and 12th in another place. But everywhere else, I'd spent half a year here and would move and go to a year and a half here. And I would move and go to a year and a half here, and then move over here and do half a year here. Like, I bounced around. I never went to the same school. It was either in a different part of the town or a different city or even a different state. So I bounced around a lot, which is, partially why I'm really big on stability and staying in one place. But anyways, all that really just helped me to do the things that I love, which is to empathize, not having sympathy, not feeling sorry for somebody, but feeling somebody else's pain when they talk about the things that they've been through, and understanding, like, I may not know all of that situation, but I have an idea. And for me, empathy is a very, very powerful tool. I'll talk more about when I get into the emotions part. But empathy can, like, take stress off of somebody because they realize that they're not alone. When I realize somebody is feeling my pain, I don't feel as much pain because it feels like it's been lifted. And not just metaphorically, but sometimes literally. My dad died about 6 months ago, and a lot of people called, hey, I'm so sorry, we're praying for you. Hey, is there anything we can do? And of course, there isn't anything you can do but pray. But I remember thinking, man, that's comforting. Just someone saying, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't even know how I can help you, but if you need something, please let me know. Just knowing I wasn't alone, that was just like, oh, that feels good. It feels comforting. And it allows me to process what I'm going through a little bit easier.
I'm just going to interject one thing here because it's so important. And we talk about grief a lot on Dela's Voice because it's such a big part of our lives. And a lot of times we don't know what to do with someone else's grief. We don't know what to do because we're, nobody taught us how to deal with this. Nobody taught us how to be helpful. And you're right. Apart from, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, my deepest condolences, please let me know what I can do for you. We're like, okay, but that sometimes I can say that to myself, but that's meaningless. that's meaningless. How is that going to help that person? But you're saying, no, just like those exact same words just mean so much.
Yeah. And like, it's changed a lot of the way I work with people. And I thought what I was doing before was pretty okay. But now when I talk to people, I'm very, very open. I'm like, I have no idea what to tell you. I can't tell you what to do. I don't even know what I can do. But just, hey, I'm here. I'm praying for you. If you need someone to talk to, please let me know. And you can see because I've learned to watch facial expressions and watch body tone. You could just see them. Thank you. Like, there's nothing you can do, but I do appreciate that. Like, wow. Like, that really is powerful. Just being with somebody, just being there.
Yes. Tristan, when you were growing up, what was the most painful emotion for you?
Oh, oof. Which one do you want me to share? Because I went through a lot. And again, not to like shine a spotlight on, oh, poor pitiful me, or, oh, he's just doing that for whatever reason. But it's life. It's what's happened. Having the story that I have, it's kind of just comes with multiple arrays of emotions and different things. One of the pivotal ones I would say was, when I came home from 6th grade to find out that my mom was in jail. And at the time, it had already happened quite a few times. And it, unfortunately, as a child, you could become numb to very adverse things. They happen so much, it becomes normal for you. But I came home one day, I was in 6th grade, and mom was gone. I was like, okay, she's maybe at the store, maybe she's in jail. I'll go stay with, so-and-so. And she'll get out in a couple of days and let's go back to our life. And I'll never forget, I had our brand new puppy laying on my chest, and I, took my little after school nap, and the phone rings and my grandma called me, and she's like, she's going to be gone for a while. And apparently there was a warrant out on her, and they came and picked her up, and no notice. And luckily I didn't have to wait. I only lived like a mile from the school. And so I walked home. But I remember like that impacted me a lot, obviously, because that was one of the very pivotal time in my life. I was finally getting settled. I had made friends. I even had a girlfriend, and I was finally getting happy. And then all this just kind of threw a wrench in it. And I remember that my dad came to pick me up, and he stayed with me for the school week. And then we'd go back to his house and stay for the weekend, and then come back. And I all the way up until I could finish school there. And we would slowly pack and bring loads, and then drop them off at my grandma's, which is my mom's mom. And we'd do this every single week. And I remember just watching all of it unfold. And then I didn't see her for over a year. Because I somehow I'd made like a pact with myself, like, I'm not going to go to the jail and see her. I don't want to see her like that. And so it was just me and my dad for over a year. I was in my old hometown, which is in Oklahoma. And we were in Enid at the time, and we went back to Ponca. But anyways, I just remember it affected me a lot, because I was in 6th grade, and I'd been jumping around so much, and I had seen so many different things, and this was just another thing to add to it. But for some reason, it was different. Coming home and not seeing my mom there after I'd finally gotten settled, I'd finally gotten used to a little bit of stability. It, changed a lot of things. And then, went to a lot of stuff after that. But that, for me, that was a really big deal.
And that would be so difficult for a kid. It would be so difficult. What did you make that mean to you back then in 6th grade? What did you make that event mean to you?
I really wouldn't know what to say when it says what I made it mean to me, other than I got used to dysfunction for a long time, and stability became something that I wanted.
Crazy.
I can remember before we lived in that house, we were living in an apartment, and I heard my mom talk on the phone, talking about how she wanted to go get a house. and she wanted to move. And I can think of any other child being happy, like, all right, we're going to get our apartment, get our own house. I remember being devastated. Like, I wanted to cry. Like, we finally got settled and we're moving. And it wasn't but a couple miles down the road. I didn't like the idea of changing schools again and then having to reacclimate and get used to another place. And so the excited part was really overwhelmed with, all right, here we go. Let's change everything again. And then I come home and had to change it again.
Yeah.
And so it just to make it mean anything. It was just that sometimes we don't get to control what happens to us. We could just literally, as much as a cliche as it sounds, just take it a little bit at a time. You know, if I had known, hey, from this point, things are going to go this way, I probably would have been so scared out of my mind. But I got through it somehow. And it was just taking it a little at a time, letting things happen, and then just trying to adjust to it.
And isn't that amazing? But it's so true, right? It's so true.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had this conversation this way before, because it's true. If imagine if you could see everything that was going to happen, every single step that was going to unfold, how scary would that be? We wouldn't do half the things we do, like we wouldn't do them because we're so scared of, of what's going to happen. But not knowing and just like saying, surrendering and just saying, you know, I'm just going to go with this, like, and hope for the best. I think that's how we get through life.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the only way to do it is I can't worry about what's going to happen after this. I need to take care of this the best way I can right now. And I need to adjust and get used to things. And I need to find a way to work through it and process it. And then I'll worry about something else later, you know, and so we're not taking on too much at one time.
Yeah. We're going to take actually a moment and say hello to some of our viewers who have left us messages. If you're watching this and you haven't left us a comment, I can't see you. So I'm just going to read the names that have left us comments. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Sarah J says, greetings to both of you, dear ones. Sarah, thank you for being here. Colleen is here. Hello. She says, hello. Deborah says, howdy, my beautiful friend, and hi, guest, and howdy to you, Deb. And she says, that's so nice. Dela has an incredible way to introduce her guest. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Frida's my mom, actually, Tristan, and she's my biggest fan. So she's here watching. Debbie says, great show. And Sarah's sending us a heart. Thank you to all of you. So let's get back to the story. At some point, you decided that you were going to go into the mental health field. How did that happen?
Oh my. Okay, so grab some popcorn. So that, no, I'm just being silly, because that was not my plan. I had no intention of it. I was really into crime shows and crime books. I love reading novels about investigations and I love that. I don't know why. It's just something I've always really been into. As a child, I rode the Boxcar Children, and just something about uncovering details. And I really wanted to be a detective. So I went into school to be a detective. Went to school for criminal justice. And I started working at a place where I was helping mentally handicapped. And it was called my title was Habilitation Training Specialist. And again, at the time, it was just a job. I was just doing it while I was going to school because I needed to take care of my family. And I knew that I didn't like working in food. And I knew that I wasn't very good in the warehouse. I like being around people. And so I did that for about 6 years. And then I worked at a jail. And I was like, this is one step closer. And I started working with the prisoners. And something dawned on me early on, like, man, I'm getting access to people that nobody else gets to have access to. Family and friends don't get to have access to them. And I don't know why, but I started thinking, man, this is an honor. I mean, yeah, they may be in there for different reasons, but I'm getting to get to know people on a very, very different personal level than most people get to see them. And wanting to be a cop and wanting to be a detective, and then finally getting in the field, I thought I'd be elated to like just crack down and to investigate. And that's not at all what I did. I'd pull people out of their out of their cells and go to this area and let them talk about their problems. And we just kind of work through things. I'm like, all right, let's build a plan. Let's work on this. Or as they were leaving, I'm like, hey, remember what we talked about? You know, start reading this, start working on this. Don't forget about not hanging around these people. And I really got invested with them to the point like I wanted to help as much as possible. Like enforcing just kind of comes with it, but I really wanted to help them just change their thought patterns. And it was at the time that I started really working on my book, and really started thinking, man, I wonder if this has anything to do with their childhood. And of course, you know, with the childhood I had, I'm very intrigued to hear about how someone's raised. But then I started working at a children's home. And I just saw
Wait a moment. No, don't rush this. This is like so good. What was the single most finding out of this experience for you, working with the criminals and the people who were incarcerated? What did you find out? As if you could just say, okay, this is what I found to be true for every single one. What was it?
None of them wanted that for them or their children when they were growing up. No one wanted to be there. I know that's crazy, but what I mean is they had no intention on committing that crime or being accused of that crime or doing that drug. No child ever started out to want to do that, but trauma happened or something happened that just threw a discourse in their life, you know, and it really is like, man, they're not that bad. And not that I thought they were bad to begin with, but it's just like society puts them down. Oh, they're criminals. They belong in jail. Like, man, they act different in there. Like I had no problem. I did not feel danger hardly ever. And I'm around people who have been stealing and who have been killing and I don't feel any type of threat. And I built a very strong relationship with them. And it was just like, it's not that they don't want to be here. That wasn't their intention as a child. Something happened. And yes, you have to pay consequences for what you do, but they didn't just want to live this life. They wanted something better at one time. And so
it allows you to stop dehumanizing people.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
see them as individuals.
Yes, because now and again, you go back to that empathy, you can see that every single one of them, and this is really, really good, that every single person does something with the intention that this is going to be helping them or like make them happy or get them out of a trouble or whatever it is. They don't intend for this to be bad for anyone, especially not for themselves. So this is really important finding for you. I want to show a picture of your book. Okay, 1 second. Because I pulled it up and I thought this is really cool. You're going to show this. Okay. All right. So let me just get rid of this banner so you can explain a little bit about this book. Okay.
All right. So in 2011, March 2011, I got this idea, and I don't push my religious beliefs on anybody's, but I do mention that it was God because that's my personal walk. I really felt an urge that I needed to write a book, and I had dabbled in it a little bit in college, and I enjoyed writing, but I never thought I would actually want to write a book. But anyways, I get this vision of something very similar to this. It's called After Midnight, Finding Your Inner Beauty. And I saw this correlation between Cinderella, how well and how beautiful she looked before the ball and during the ball. And then the woman that the prince went and found, while they were the same woman, they were not dressed the same. They did not look the same. And he didn't put that slipper on a woman in a beautiful gown that had this, garment of praise and elegance and riches and glory. She had rags when he put that on her. But her spirit and her character, that's what was beautiful. And so I just kind of studied and talked to people for about 3 to 4 years, and began seeing that like a lot of people lack self-esteem, myself included. The inability to see how beautiful and how incredibly valuable they are. And, I've got a lot of analogies in the book, but one of the ones I use is, we could take $100 bill and we go buy 1 gallon of milk at Dollar General and we've wasted our money. But it's not because of the value of the bill, it's what we use with it. We are worth so much more than what we think. It's just a matter of us seeing that value. And so around 2014, I worked on it. And I worked on it throughout the years. I finally finished it, and it was officially published in 2020, March. So exactly 9 years later, almost to the day. It was
COVID.
March 20. Yeah,
Right
March
on.
26th.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I had a Palm Pilot, and I wrote down After Midnight, Finding Your Inner Beauty, Cinderella, True Beauty, Character. And that was March 26th. March 19th, 2011. And then March 24th, 2020 is when the book was officially released and publicized, and I got my physical copies. So like just a few days after the 9-year mark.
So here's the book again, After Midnight, Finding Your Inner Beauty by Tristan Helm. You talk about, in the book, you talk about PTSD recovery, cognitive reasoning explained, and a lot of different techniques that to work with our mental health, right? That it's all about our mental health.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
and it's just how we take care of ourselves and everything.
So here we go. Now we're going to go back to your story. And so you're getting to work with criminals in jail, and you're finding out that every single one of them had gone through something in their childhood. So you're finding the root cause of this, and then you decide what?
There was a pivotal moment, and I remember 2 guys were arguing and griping and fighting each other, and I could have went in there and done what I was trained to do, which is go in there and take hold of the situation. Instead, I pulled the guy out, I handcuffed him, and I was like, "Man, y'all need to chill out." I said, "Come here," and I put handcuffs, and I said, "Just follow me." And we went into this place. It's called the Sallyport, and it was just kind of like a rec yard for them. And I was like, "What's going on, man? What are y'all beefing about?" And it was toilet paper. And he was just mad, and he just like, "Look, I don't want them to think that I'm a punk. I don't want to." And so he was just trying to protect himself. Like, he wasn't really mad about toilet paper. It was just him trying to make a statement that he's not going to let those little things slide. And so we talked for a little bit. He felt better about it. And so I'm like, "All right, I'm going to take you back." I said, "But act like I just, yelled at you and screamed at you, and act like you're ticked off at me, okay?" He's like, "All right." So he starts mumbling and getting angry. It's like, "Man, this is messed up. Why are you going to treat me like this?" Took his handcuffs off. And I started to develop a friendship. And that moment was like, I don't belong in law enforcement. Like, there's a place for it, obviously, but I don't belong in that. That's not my calling. That's not my passion, apparently. I enjoyed helping and talking and finding out what was really going on more than I did enforcing the rules. I can count on my hand the number of times I really got angry in my whole 4.5 years working there. Again, working around adverse things and working around very high tension situations. I can count on my hands the number of times I really got mad, like legitimately angry. Most of the time it was like, "Man, let's go talk. Hey, what's going on? Do you want to just go take a break? You want to go to lockdown and just kind of be by yourself?" And I was like, there's a much different way that we can deal with people. And obviously this is not my thing, enforcing. I want to help. I want to teach people how to work through things.
So then you decided to go work with kids. How did that happen?
Yeah. So I was going through a really traumatic time at the moment. I had just gotten out of a divorce, or I just was divorcing. I was working through the trauma of that because of this, what was happening. I lost 2 of my best friends, and then 2 of my dogs died. And then the job kind of let me go. I voluntarily left, but I was at a really, really low point in my life, like a very low point. I started suffering like depression and anxiety on a higher level. And I left Oklahoma and went to Texas, just kind of stay with a friend and really just kind of get my head around things. And I remember I got a call from CPS for a job interview. And I was like, I said, I would love to.
What's CPS?
Child Protective Services.
Okay.
Because I had a degree and I knew what I was good at. And I wanted to go into work in helping children and helping families. And they called me for an interview. And I was like, I'm actually going out of town. I said, can I please interview when I get back? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, you can't. And so I went down to Texas and I called up a friend of mine who I knew worked at the children's home. He's like, yeah, man. He said, get healthy. Come on down. Let me know as soon as you're here and we'll do an interview. And it wasn't even an interview. It was a formality. It was just like, hey, so when do you want to start? Let's just go through all the dynamics. We'll get you started. And then I started working with the children and I loved it. I mean, I loved every minute of it as far as what I was doing. And then I decided it was time for me to leave Oklahoma and go move to Texas permanently. And so then I left the home and I'm still in contact with a lot of the kids from there. I guess they're adults now, but in my eyes, they're still kids to me.
They're your kids, right? Yeah, your kids.
And they're my kids. I'm very protective. I look at them like as if I was they were my own children. Yeah. So yeah, they're still very young for me.
So when you worked with the kids, what did you learn from that experience, and how did it bring you to what you're doing today? And then we're going to go actually into, helping people a little bit today and how to balance and function with your day-to-day motion. I mean, I'm so involved in the story right now. It's like, what were we going to do
today? Those children did not want to be there, nor did they deserve to be there. It wasn't, they were there for either their parents had abandoned them or CPS took them away, or, that home actually started off as a military home. Like when parents were gone at military, this home would just take care of them while their parents were fighting the war. And then that transitioned into state custody. And so there was like 4 homes where, 2 of them housed girls and 2 of them housed boys, and tried to help them develop adult skills like, cooking and charity, and help them. They even had like a little school there where they went to school. But a lot of them, they were very angry at life. They were very angry at the system. They were very angry at us. And we weren't voluntarily just working at a job to work at a job. Like, no, not a lot of people that I know want to work at a job where you get cursed out, spit on, accused of stuff. You want to work with troubled kids because that's your passion, at least most of the cases. And so these kids were just lashing out in anger on situations that they had no control over, and it really wasn't their fault. And so, again, I was trying to develop as much of a relationship professionally as possible to help them see, like, hey, I didn't put you here. I'm not here to enforce. I'm not here to put you down. I just want to help. And I would think I developed a pretty good relationship with them in a stance that they would trust me. And, I want to talk to Mr. Tristan. That's what we call everyone like Mr. and Mrs. and then their first name. And I took that as a very, like, an honor. When I want to talk to Mr. Tristan, I'm angry. And so they would call me over to that dorm and like, hey, what's going on? And we'd go for a walk. And so there's a lot of emotional balance that I was learning while I was trying to teach it. And I'm like, man, I need to use that on myself. When I get angry, I need to do this myself. And so I learned a lot about again, working in a jail. You see a lot of them, that's where they got started. Not necessarily in a children's home, but troubled youth, kids that were put in situations they didn't want to be in. And I would even see some of the same behavior. And so I was seeing the early onset behavioral problems that I saw when I worked at the jail. And so I started noticing a connection with childhood trauma and, the imbalance of like not knowing how to process loss and not knowing how to process emotions. And when people don't understand you and stuff like that.
Wow. If we could learn to balance and function with day-to-day emotions, we'd save ourselves a whole lot of trouble, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes. I cannot emphasize it enough. Yes, if we can learn just a few things about it, we can learn just a few skills. It doesn't even take a lot.
Yes.
Dr. Phil says problems are complex, but solutions are simple. Like we just learn a couple really important factors about our emotions, then it changes everything if we implement
it. What is one? Okay, let's pick. Can we pick like a couple of different emotions and try and leave our audience with some tools today? What do you think?
Okay, so before I say if I can, I want a little introduction is, what are emotions for? Okay. A lot of people, and myself included, they feel something and then they react. Well, he said this to me, or I know that they're talking about me, and they get all upset or they get sad. Like, I know no one cares about me. I know everyone hates me. And the feeling is real. That doesn't make it true, but it's real. And so we look at it as an emotion, as an indicator of what is true. I feel this way, so they must be doing this. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel this way. And when you learn, emotions have one job. That's it. One simple, plain, boring job. That it just, once you realize, you're like, oh, wow, that's different. Emotions tell you how you feel. That's it. They don't tell you what's true. They don't tell you what's false. They don't tell you what's left, what's right, what's up, what's down. They don't tell you what to do. They don't tell you anything. They just tell you, hey, I'm angry. Hey, I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm joyful. That's it. They just react. That's it. And it's powerful whenever we really take that in, is because once we start feeling a different emotion, instead of saying, well, I'm going to do this now, why? Why am I angry all of a sudden? I was having a great day. This is, we realize our emotions are telling us something. And we just got to figure out what it's telling us. And so to pick out emotion, I teach anger management. And I'm learning a lot as I go. And I've taught this class for the past 2 years. No, I've taught it for probably 3 to 4 years now. But I teach it at my job. Sorry, my nose is really itching right now.
You have allergies probably.
For a good chance. But I've taught it 3-4 years, and I teach it at my church for people who are, going through the system to get their kids back, or because they got in trouble for domestic violence. And I also teach it at my job where I'm a mental health professional, and I'm learning a lot. So to pick anger is a secondary emotion. It means you're not angry just to be angry. You're angry because you're embarrassed. You're angry because you're hungry. You're angry because, I got this little picture.
You're so right. Yeah, tell us some of those the reasons why we get angry. That's a lot of different emotions.
Yeah.
So you're saying, anger is a secondary emotion to something that has happened. No, not
exactly.
Right. So something happens, you feel something, then you become angry.
Yeah. And so I might be embarrassed, so I get angry, or I might be in pain, emotionally or physically, like, man, I smashed my finger. Man, my whole day is ruined. And then I go off on this long tangent and, take it out on my family, all because I smashed my finger because I'm in pain. Where we feel threatened, so we get angry. Like, they're not going to do that to me. So it's actually a secondary reactive emotion to what's happening inside of our body, according to how we see a particular situation. So here's what happens. And if it's okay, I'm going to be a science nerd for just a few minutes, and I'll try to break it down as easily as I can. So you have what's in your brain. In the prefrontal cortex, you have the amygdala, okay? The amygdala is just this little sensor in your brain that says there's something stressful going on. So then it starts activating this message system through these things called neurotransmitters, right? And so that activates the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus then starts releasing these chemicals called cortisol in your body. And the cortisol starts signaling the pituitary glands. The pituitary glands are like right here in your part of your head, right? That starts feeding adrenaline. Guess what adrenaline does? Adrenaline starts either you're shaking or you're like, I got scared. Oh my goodness. So it starts activating a response system in your body, all from stress. It could be one thing, it could be a big thing, bunch of little bitty things, but it's still stressful. And so when we learn, oh, something got activated, rather than I'm angry, let me punch this ball, or let me punch, like, whoa, why? What am I seeing? What just happened? Did somebody say something? Am I reflecting? Why? And you can actually slow the process. You see, a lot of our mistakes come when we don't evaluate that emotion, and we want like instant gratification. We want to satisfy something that'll ease off the stress, ease off the pain, whatever it is, to take our mind off the pain. We want that instant gratification. Mm-hmm. And the instant gratification is why we make our mistakes. Yes. I mean, you can find a lot of mistakes are from that desire to fulfill an instant gratification, or desire to fulfill something instantly. And if we can learn to just sit back and say, okay, what am I really thinking? Why? Why do I think this? We can normally just, maybe 5-10 seconds, we'll recalibrate our brain. Like, you know what? Maybe I should just wait before I say anything. And I've gotten into a lot of arguments, and I've also avoided a lot of arguments based on this principle of whether I just reacted and said something, or I waited and it's like, I don't want to say that. I know they're hurting me. And I've had people say some like really angry, mean things. And I wanted to like, really? With the stuff I know about you and what I can say about you. But I decided I'm going to wait. I don't want to hurt. I want to wait. I want to process. And someone messaged me the other day and like kept messaging me. I'm like, hey, I'm still healing. I don't want to talk right now. Because I was aware if I started to talk, I was going to unleash something very, very unhealthy. So I needed a moment or a few moments just to wait and let things kind of calm down. Let me devalue what that person said. So now they're just words rather than my emotions. So now what they said to me doesn't affect me as much because I'm not as worried about it. I don't care about that opinion. I don't care about those words because that's what they think. That's not what's true.
Mm-hmm. You know, as you're explaining this whole system and you're going through all these different parts of the brain and how the last thing that happens is like before that reaction happens is adrenaline. And first of all, two things came up to me. Adrenaline is also the hormone that's produced when we work out, isn't it? Or
Yes.
like we're excited or something like
no,
that.
Yeah,
so, right, same hormone. So that's really interesting that it happens in both cases. But also, as you're talking, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool in your mind, all of a sudden you hear this siren, like this red lights go off, and
Yeah.
this is your indication. Okay, this is just anger. I'm going to settle back and think about what I'm going to do
Right.
next. Wow. So much could be avoided, Tristan.
Absolutely.
Arguments. I just arguments, like just everyday arguments. If you can just ask yourself, okay, why am I angry? Where's this coming from? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just being able to just, instead of just react, you start looking around. I've had some people just, again, and this is very recent, that's why I'm sharing this. They said some very mean, ugly things to me about my dad and about me and my relationship with him. And I mean, it hurt. I lost sleep over it. I woke up with panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat back like, why do I care what they think? Like, I don't have to care. Like, they're just words. I don't need to listen to what they're saying. It doesn't mean it's true. And so I had to activate this consciousness of like, wait, don't say anything right now. And all of it, actually, it got started of a very harmless conversation. Someone said something about science. I'm a nerd. I love talking about science, even if I don't know a lot. And it just kind of spiraled down. And then it turned into these vicious attacks. And so I realized I need to cut myself off from these people until I can differentiate what they're saying, what they're meaning, why they're saying it, or just straight up, I don't care. You can think that about me all you want. I'm not going to make you think otherwise, but I'm not going to prove myself to you. I'm not going to try to discredit you. I don't care if you say that about me, because it doesn't matter. It's not true. And that's what's most important.
And that's how you balance your emotions.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, again, understanding that what are my emotions saying can be the number one changing factor in what I do with how I feel and what I used to do with how I feel. Mm-hmm. Just knowing I'm angry, but why? I'm sad, but things are okay. Great example, just because we were talking about working out. It was the middle of the night. I made a dumb mistake and I looked at my phone and I saw all these vicious texts from this person. And I'm like, my heart started like pounding. And obviously I wasn't going back to sleep. My wife says, hey, why don't you go in the garage and go work out for a little bit? I was like, okay. And so I went into the garage and I did a few pull-ups. I hit my punching bag. Like, that's it. That's as hard. I could just bear. And my body, it's so cool. My body thought, oh, we're working out. That's what we're doing. That's why our blood's pumping. And no lie, I went back into the bedroom. I laid down. My heart started to slow and I fell asleep, and I slept better before than I did before I saw the text. I slept better after. And it was because, and this is not an insult, it's just how it is. Your brain is ignorant. It doesn't know what's true. It just knows what's happening to it. It just processes what it thinks and what it feels. That's it. And so you can trick your body into thinking, and trick your mind into thinking, oh, I'm not stressed out. This isn't anxiety. I'm working out. That's why. That's okay. And your body will like match that energy with that emotion, and the emotion will start to fade, and you'll start to come down with the energy, because that's all emotion does. It just feeds energy. And so we just match the energy. Like me and my wife have got into it, and I was like, I'm going to go for a jog. And I got back from my jog and I wasn't even angry at her, because I just like, man, I'm just too tired to care. And, we hugged and kissed, and like, I don't even know why we're angry, but I switched that energy.
Yes. And it's so good. Just understanding how this whole organism works, right? That just allows you to trick it. And I think I want to say this right now, because a lot of us don't realize that we don't work for our brain. Our brain works for us. My brain works for me.
Yes,
I'm the boss.
I'm in charge. It's
Yes.
not time to be anxiety. It's not time to have anxiety. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Time to go back to bed. Chill out. Treat
Yeah.
your body. This is something I try to tell everybody, and I try to tell it. Treat your body like a child, but train it like a muscle. You tell it what to do, and you train it on what it's supposed to do. It's just a computer program, is all it is. You program it to do what it's supposed to do, not what it wants to do.
Okay. So Debbie says my husband is watching as well. Hi. Okay. So Babak's here. Babak says I had lots of problems with anger till I realized whatever they think and say is just their thoughts and has nothing to do with me. Then my problem with anger solved automatically.
Yeah. And what they said is spot on. People don't reflect you, they reflect themselves. Period. Like I was getting onto my child about something, and while I was talking to him, I'm like, I did the same thing when I was a child. So I switched it from you ought to be doing this to, you know what, I used to do this and I don't want you to make the mistakes I made. So I want you to work on this, or let's work on this together. It went from like, I'm not angry at him because he's doing this. I'm angry because I used to do that. And I don't want him to do that too. I don't want him to make the mistakes I made. And it was a character trait I saw in myself. So when people are lashing at you, which viably, I know for a fact, the people that were saying those things, they were in pain. They were dealing with their own demons, and they were lashing out at me because I was there and I could take it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so taking yourself out of the equation and saying, it's not about me. Get over yourself. It's not about you. Get over yourself. It's not about you. This works for me. It's hard though, Tristan. It's hard. Sometimes that anger comes because of so many different reasons, but you feel like someone disrespected you and you get angry. If you feel like someone belittled you and you feel angry, you feel like someone totally ignored your feelings and you get angry. And so it is the meaning we give to it. And so it takes a lot of awareness, but it's like that siren all of a sudden. This is really visual to me, that like all my body parts, like my brain parts are like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
You're getting angry.
So think of it like this. Think of it like red flags. And you can see them. Once you identify what they are, you can see them. Like, I haven't perfected it, but now when I get angry, I'm like, whoa, why? And it's because I started to red flag, danger, danger, Will Robinson.
Yes,
wait,
exactly.
Like, hold on. Or when I get sad, like, whoa, why am I sad? I'm really blessed. I'm very happy. Why? Where's this coming from? Oh, there's that song in the background. Okay. But you can train yourself to have those red flags, like a relationship with a human being, or you can get out of a toxic relationship and you realize, oh, I didn't see these red flags early on. And so now that I've got that knowledge, I'm going to look for those red flags in the next relationship. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Nope. Sorry, buddy. We're done. Sorry, girl. Nope. Not doing this. Because you learn from your past what was happening. You can train your body. Like you said, you are the boss, not your brain, not your body, your consciousness, your awareness. That's what's the boss. And if it's asleep, you're running on autopilot. I mean, the brain just does whatever it's been trained to do. It's just a computer program. The body's just reacting normal. But your awakeness and that alert can be, no, next time I get mad, I'm going to do this. And it is hard. It is very hard. But like any muscle, growing a muscle is going to be painful. It's going to be hard. But it's hard because it's worth it. If it was easy, it would just go back to the way it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. This is so good. It's so helpful. But we're out of time. I can't believe we're out of time.
Sad. I got to go balance my emotions now.
So I say Tristan, you got to come back. And
Yes, please.
we're just gonna do like we're gonna do another show just teaching people how to do this emotion, how to do the next emotion. I think that would be fantastic. I learned so much today from you, Tristan, and I so appreciate hearing your story and how you started this journey. It's fantastic. I want to make sure that we have your website here so people can go on there, helmmastery.com. If you want to reach out to Tristan and buy his book, and just if just get some help. That go ahead and do that. This man knows his stuff. He can help us. So thank you. I want to give you a couple of more minutes, Tristan, to finish off with whatever you like.
Best thing I can ever say is or not the best thing, I'm sorry. The best thing I can think of to say is this is a process. This does not happen like, oh, I got this revelation, now I can master it. Helm Mastery is not me being the master of it. It's me helping people be the master of their life and me helping them with what they can do. It has nothing to do with me. It just has to do with the experience that I've had. So if anybody, allow a grace period, but put it into practice with every small thing. When you get just a little perturbed, practice with that. Like use that as an outlet to, ooh, wait, I'm excited. Okay, let me, why am I aggravated? I'm not even that angry, but I'm a little bit perturbed. And so you put that into practice. And you do that into practice with all the small things. Eventually, the big things either won't happen or you'll know exactly what to do when the big things do happen.
Yeah.
So you just learn to do it with the small things. The little bitty innocuous, like, ooh, I'm a little angry. Ooh, okay, all right. Why am I angry? You start questioning it. And normally we would blow it off and it would just build up pressure. But now let's find out the small thing. I can control this anger. This isn't bad. And so if you do it the small emotions, the big emotions are like almost dismissive.
So, but ignoring it doesn't work.
No, ignoring it makes it worse. Because it just, here, like I said, like your emotions come right here. And if you don't deal with it in your heart or in your face, it gets suppressed, right? And then the more it builds up, and then guess what? It comes out involuntarily. It just starts like proverbially vomiting I should say vomit, it's a little obscure, like little, but it just starts coming out.
Yeah, but it's very visual. It's true.
And so suppressing it just doesn't make it better.
Or you get sick. Like it shows up physically for you, right? And I mean, how many times have we heard that there are so many physical ailments that have root cause in our emotional stress, right?
Absolutely.
I know for me that's true. So wow, thank you so much. I so appreciate you being here. Sarah says you are very energetic. Good luck. Thank you. Thanks for everyone who's watched us today. Thank you again, Tristan. Reach Tristan at www.helmmastery.com to get his book. I'm just going to put up that book one more time, After Midnight, Finding Your Inner Beauty. So it's an amazing honor to have met you, Tristan. It was great hearing you talk, and I've learned so much. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. And so for everyone who's watched us today, I really want to thank you for giving us your time. If you have found this talk helpful, go ahead and please share this with other people. There's lots of people who can use this information. And as always, this has been Dela's voice, sparking your soul. Stay blessed. See you next time. Bye, Tristan.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.